What's up, kids? This is a long story, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible. So I grew up in a small place, but I always wanted to live in a big city. So I went to university in a big city to study there economics. That was a big mistake because I hated economics. I was never a numbers guy. So for me, it was really hard to adapt. But you already know how it works. The family is always saying, no, but this is good for you. Where is the money? Where are the good jobs? That kind of stuff. And just like that, I didn't follow my dreams. When I arrived at university, some of my friends told me, oh man, you are good looking. You should try a modeling agency. And I knew that being in a good agency was really good to achieve my dreams. That was to enter in films. I really want to be an actor. That was my dream. I never wanted to be a model. I always wanted to be an actor. So I thought, why not? I was living alone in a really tiny bedroom, and I took some photos and I sent to some agencies. And one of the best agencies in Europe, probably the best, answered me. I went there, they liked me, and they said that I had potential to be an actor. So I was really happy. But they said that I really need to do everything that they wanted. So for me, that was hard because I always was a rebellious person. So I don't know. The first castings were terrible. It's impossible to compare with another people, with some guys with insane bodies, really, really beautiful. And I was like, man, what I'm doing here? But the funniest part is like, I was always an extrovert guy, very rebellious. And the casting, the directors and that kind of stuff, they like that kind of people. They are very rebellious. Oh, I don't give a fuck about what you're saying. Okay, that kind of behavior. I always was like that guy. After a while, I had to go to the agency more often because they wanted, and that's when the things got darker. They started being really rude with me, like, man, look at your belly, that's a disgrace. Look at your face, your skin, it's terrible. What's happening? Your skin is miserable, and that I will never be anyone if I looked like that. So every week it was the same, insults, comparisons, and more pressure, and more pressure. I saw a lot of bad things, especially with the girls. The girls, man, in this kind of agencies, it's like bullying every time. It's so hard, so hard. And they told me, if you really want to be an actor, you need to go to the parties. You need to meet important people to become influential. You need to hang around beautiful people, hang around with directors. And I started going because they said to me, it's the only way to achieve your goal. And that's when I discovered a whole new world, a world where I had access to anything I wanted. At the same time, my family started to struggle financially a lot. We started to have a huge financial problems. So I went to the parties, and if you want to be cool and if you want to fit in certain groups, you end up doing what they do. So I started doing drugs, and especially drinking a lot. And when I say alcohol, I mean alcohol every single night for 3 years. For 3 years, I went out every night. Yeah, with a lot of beautiful people, with film directors, and with influential people. So I began skipping classes. I already hated my degree, and because of drinking, I started to act aggressively, doing ridiculous things that almost got kicked me out of the university. But that part of story is for another time. Every week the agency compared me to other models, always based on physical things, and I felt so ugly, so worthless, that I could barely look at myself in the mirror. And if I was doing so badly, it felt like it was time to make other people feel bad too. So I used girls. I disrespect them. I even humiliated some of them. Men who do that, I can almost guaranteed they have a huge self-esteem problems and a big inner problems inside of them. Deep internal problems that they really need to solve them. I can guarantee you this. And the agency treat me worse and worse, but since it felt like it was my only chance, I stayed quiet. Until one day, the final casting arrived, the one I always dreamed of, a leading role in a huge series, the main character of a huge TV show. 3 days before the casting, I cut my hair and I went to the agency to study the text with them, to see how my acting was, and they destroyed me because I cut my hair. They completely destroyed me. They told me I looked ugly, and honestly, I believed them. And on the day of the big casting, it was me and 2 other guys. And I walked in feeling inferior in every possible way. The audition went terribly and I didn't get the role. At the time, I was renting a tiny little bedroom, and I spent the next 4 months inside that tiny room without opening the blinds. Always dark. I only left to buy some pizzas, frozen lasagnas, and alcohol. So my family was struggling, my grades were terrible, I was basically expelled of my university, I was drowning in alcohol, and my self-esteem was completely destroyed. You know that negative spiral where everything is already bad and somehow it still gets worse? That was my life. I didn't talk to anyone, and when I talked was to disrespect someone. I hurt a lot of people, and that's when I came very close to ending my life. You know those stories about good people that got hurt and do crazy things about their lives. Yeah, that's not my story. I wasn't a good person. I was someone I'm ashamed of, and I will always be ashamed of that person. Today I try to be better, but I'm still far away of the person that I want to be. But at least I knew I was wrong and I needed to change. The main problem is when people think that are always right and everyone else is wrong. And yeah, that's the hardest part. And probably you know someone that is always right and is in the good side of the story. I'm not the hero of my story. I am the villain. I was the villain many times. This is just one small part of my story, and it's really hard to tell this publicly, as you can imagine. But I'm tired of lying. I spent my whole life pretending. That's the reason why I started to create content, to try to be honest with myself and with the world. And yeah, I wasn't a good person, but I want to become one. And I'm sorry. Let me say, Happy New Year, guys. Hope you achieve everything you want, but if it's just surviving, that's okay. And see you on the next video. Kids,